This is LBC, leading Britain's conversation with John Stapleton. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850. John Stapleton on LBC.
Well, the time is coming up to 4 minutes past 3. Thank you very much indeed for your company on this New Year's Eve. And in this hour, I'm going to be talking about Donald Trump, because the government has said that it is possible they will ban him from coming here to the UK if it's deemed to be non-conducive to the public good. I wonder what your thoughts are on that. This has all become clear from the revelation that more than 500,000 people have signed a petition calling for Mr. Trump to be stopped from coming to the United Kingdom. He himself, of course, has said that in his view all Muslims should be banned from entering the United States, and he followed that up with some outbursts about what he called Britain's massive Muslim problem. Should he come here? My own personal view is that we should welcome him with open arms, listen to what he has to say. My view is that we may not like what he has to say, but we should allow him the right to say it. We should show him around all the areas of this country where there is a Muslim community, show him how in the vast majority of cases our communities live in complete harmony, show him that what he's saying is a load of tripe. That happens to be my view, but first of all let's listen to the man himself, the Republican presidential hopeful, the aforementioned Mr. Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. You have no choice. We have no choice.
So, should a man like that be allowed to come here to the United Kingdom? Should MPs debate this in the House of Commons, as they're entitled to, I think I'm right in saying now, because more than 500,000 people have signed a petition saying that this should be discussed? Should they discuss that in the House of Commons? And what do we call conducive to the public good? If the government decided that he couldn't come here because it would not be good to the conducive, it would not be conducive to the public good, how do you determine that? What are the criteria for determining that? What are your own views about Donald Trump? Should he be banned from the United States, or the United Kingdom rather? Quite a lot of people think he should be banned from the United States as well, come to think of it. But anyway, so we're going to kick off this conversation by talking to a couple of people. Charlie Wolf, who's a US commentator based here in the UK, and Abdullah al Andalusi, who's co-founder of the Muslim Debate Initiative. A warm welcome and a happy new year to you both. I'll kick off with you, Charlie. What are your thoughts about this? Should Britain ban him from coming to this country?
Oh gosh, no, I can't believe that we're wasting time with this, to tell you the truth, that of all the pressing matters, that we have 500,000 people taking to a website to sign their names, and now we're going to have our elected representatives wasting an afternoon in Parliament possibly discussing Donald J. Trump, which only goes to keep Donald Trump in the headlines and increases his polling numbers. You know, the important thing, in many ways, I respect and agree with what you said earlier. Let's debate what he said instead of going on about the man, calling him unhinged or whatever. I think it was what Jeb Bush used. Let's just debate the actual words that he's saying. To be fair, I think, first off, to be fair, what he talked about was to ban all Muslims. And remember that second clause, until the government figures out what the hell is going on, if I can quote him directly.
You did.
So it sounds like he's taking a shot more at the government. And yeah, I think he could have put it in a lot different ways. And yes, there's definitely an offensive level to it. I'm sure if Abdullah is offended by it, I don't blame him. But let's look at what he's saying and why that statement has traction in the States.
Don't go away, Charlie. Let's go to Abdullah. Your reaction to that, Abdullah?
Well, I'm not so much offended by Donald Trump, but rather I'm just more concerned about consistency. Because, see, in the UK, we have so many people who are banned from entering the UK. Many of them are Muslim speakers, which are called hate preachers and are not conducive to the public good. Such like, for example, Zakir Naik, who's actually a peaceful speaker from India, who was banned from coming into the UK, and he had to appear via video link at Oxford, I believe. So there are many people who are banned from coming into the UK. UK is not the beacon of free speech. Neither is the United States with its bans on people coming into the United States, including Muslim speakers in Canada who are banned from just going across the border. even though these people are peaceful individuals who only talk about theology. So all I'm really saying is that before we get on our high horses and talk about free speech, let's talk about reality, and let's see the inconsistencies which are applied currently to when it comes to Donald Trump or other people. It's like, oh, let him speak, let's debate his ideas. But when it comes to other people who are not so convenient for the current narratives, they are banned from the UK, and everyone's happy about it.
All right, let's put that point to Charlie.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I remember when was it Jackie Smith, I think it was, brought in that original banning list, and there was some 12, 13, 14 people on it. And at the very end, they tacked on Michael Savage, the talk show host in the States. And, I mean, again, not necessarily to offend, but it gave the impression of we had to put on a white Jewish guy, American, because the rest of the list was Muslim. So at least we could say it wasn't an all-Muslim list.
Yeah, but if Charlie, if what he says, if what Trump says is, and I'm quoting Cameron here, is stupid, wrong, and divisive, and that's the most important word, divisive. Isn't there a case for at least considering stopping him from coming here?
Well, divisive in and of itself isn't that bad. I mean, all politics is in a sense divisive. President Obama, with respect, has been very divisive over the last 6 or 7 years. It's my watermark is if it's insightful. So, if you look at some of the people that have been banned from this country, Hamza, etc., that are calling for the murder of people for their religion, etc. That I think there can be more of a case. But yes, I believe in free speech, and again, I believe in the marketplace of ideas.
Yeah, Abdullah, sorry, Charlie. I'm going to say to you, Abdullah, isn't there a case for, as I said right at the start, for getting him over here, listening to what he has to say, and then demonstrating to him in no uncertain terms why he's completely wrong?
Well, I mean, I think thanks to the internet, we can now listen to what everyone has to say all around the world. So I don't think that's really an argument that can be made in a more information age. But on principle, I believe that we should just be consistent. Either we allow everyone in whom we have strong reservations about, but who are peaceful, or we don't allow any of them in and be consistent about it. Not just people who are Muslim, but people who are not Muslim. And just to show you how ridiculous this is, the French comedian, the obviously very notorious one, Dieudonné Mbala, he is banned from coming into the UK, and he's just a hop across the channel. So we have to really look at our principles here, and I think that if we're going to hold on to free speech, then be consistent, and if we're not, then be consistent, but do not selectively apply it against people that the government doesn't like, and allow free speech for those people which are intolerant towards minorities.
All right, tell me this, Abdullah. What's your view of what Trump has to say, particularly about there being no-go areas in this country where the police fear to go because of the Muslim presence there, because of Britain having a Muslim problem that it's too shy or naive to talk about?
Well, with these pundits, I don't think they let small things like facts and evidence get in the way of rhetoric. I think they have enough education and enough resources to find out the facts for themselves. But I don't think for politicians it really matters to them what the actual facts on the ground are. What matters to them more is scoring political points, trying to get their percentage points up in their popularity and getting votes. That's all they are concerned about, which is why sometimes politicians are much more dangerous than intellectuals. Intellectuals are more interested in facts, but politicians are interested in rhetoric, which is why we see politicians issuing very dangerous rhetoric. For example, David Cameron in the UK and our current government touts this failed narrative that terrorism is the result of ideology and not the result of foreign policy, despite the fact that academics, former security...
But I mean, Abdullah, sorry to interrupt. In a sense, you're kind of doing the same thing. I mean, I don't think that foreign policy is necessarily the result of terrorism is the result of foreign policy, because foreign policy has been going on for years. And also, listen, I've seen a lot of foreign policy I haven't liked over the years. Or the line I hear about people being oppressed. The 7/7 bombers weren't oppressed, and I've been oppressed about things. It hasn't made me want to, blow up things and solve problems that way. So, I'm open for a debate. You can throw narrative just as easily as the others.
Okay, back to Trump, Charlie. Back to Trump. I mean, it is offensive, isn't it, Charlie? What he says?
Listen. Yeah, I think the problem with Donald Trump and also Ben Carson is sometimes the way they calibrate their speech. On one hand, it's refreshing. That's why they seem to be getting the notice they do. They speak their minds compared to what you get out of Cameron and Obama and so forth and so on. But on the other hand, what he was trying to say sounded more like the government getting its act together. And maybe if it was worded of saying there are countries from the Middle East that seem to be, Syria is in a state right now where they could plant terrorists in with their refugees. I therefore think we need to have a hold on Syrians and maybe people from countries X, Y, and Z until we are able to figure this out. Then it wouldn't have been offensive.
Charlie, thank you very much indeed. Happy New Year to you. Last word to you, Abdullah.
All I'll say is this: if we want to look at who's doing the majority of killing in America, it's these mass shootings that are killing thousands of people every year, dwarfing terror attack statistics. So if we really, and this is what President Obama has mentioned as well, that if we compare terror attacks to the mass shooting incidents in America, you'll see which is the more danger. And so I think this talk of Muslim is really just demonizing a minority, when if we were truly concerned about the origins of the large death counts, we'd be dealing with more fundamental issues, such as what is happening regarding these mass shootings in America.
Okay, Abdullah, thanks very much indeed for your call and your time. I think we're strayed a little bit off the issue of Donald Trump there, but we'll get back to it. Sure as eggs are eggs. Donald Trump, should he be banned from entering the UK if his presence here is deemed by ministers not to be conducive to the public good? Let me know your thoughts.